G'day guys, and welcome back to Mud Rats Hunting and Outdoors. In this video I'm going to do a bit of a review and an unboxing on the Lansky controlled angle sharpening system. And I got this a little while ago, and as you guys know, usually if I'm going to do a review on a product, I like to test it first and make sure it does what's as advertised. And so we've done that. We've sharpened a couple of knives with this system already, and I must say I'm very impressed with the ease of operation, the ease of setup, and everything else. It's a great little system. It comes in its own handy little carry case that you can stick in your backpack for when you're travelling and when you're hiking and whatnot through the scrub. So anyway, we'll get into it. We'll start off with the unboxing of it. Just comes in this little plastic box container system. When you open it up, you immediately notice you've got a little bottle of honing oil. You've got the system that clamps your blade into place, and you've got your three stones. You've got a coarse, a medium, and a fine stone. You can also notice there's two slots available. You can have two. You can also buy two other stones for this system, and that's a super coarse stone and a super fine stone. I am going to turn and get the super fine stone for this system. No need with the coarse. The coarse is quite good, but I am going to get the super fine because I like to just hone and that little bit of a burr that you do get behind with your knives when you're sharpening. So I will eventually. I'm going to buy that blade. But the first thing you'll notice when you lift up the top is there's some information under the flap here telling you the different angles to sharpen your different styles of blade. Like for instance here it says the 17-degree angle is a severe angle recommended for fillet knives, razor blades, scalpels or similar tools. And it recommends for your hunting knives, skinning knives 25%. But after a little bit of playing around with this system and a little bit of experience with it now, I must say I much prefer to sharpen my hunting knives at about 20%. 20% seems to give them the sharpness that I like, which is a hell of a lot sharper for skinning beasts and whatnot. At 25%, it does give that little bit extra blade durability while you're sharpening, but it's just it's nowhere near that surgical sharpness that I prefer when skinning. But that's just personal preference. So anyway, first thing you'll notice is you've got some information, and it's in a multitude of languages, and it tells you on how to set the system up, on how to use it. Behind that, you have the guide rods, and the guide rod is used to turn into to hold the stone. So anyway, we'll get the system out of the case. And the great thing is with this system, guys, is no matter what size blade you have, it will do them all. Everything from my my small skinning knife that I use on small game like my foxes and everything else, up to my bigger skinning knife which I use for my deer and larger game and goats and what have you, and even up to my pig hunting knife, which is quite a large blade. It'll do them all. And this blade here, I was one of the blades I done with the system to try it out, and I don't know how well you can see on that camera or not, but that blade is a very finely polished edge, and that easily passes the paper test with sharpness. It's that was quite dull when I first got that because it's gone through a lot of bone and whatnot with in the past, and it was very dull. I had to start out with a coarse stone on that knife to bring it back to super sharp, and now it's just as razor sharp as the rest. I also done my other smaller skinning knife, but today in the demonstration I haven't sharpened this as yet, and the last time I used this it was getting a little bit dull when I was finishing out the last piece that I done with this. Now the way the system works is you have two knobs here, or two screws here, tightening screws, clamping screws, and you back out the front one first, and that'll allow you to fit your blade in. Now it recommends when clamping them onto your blade to come back half an inch from the edge of the blade. Now I found depending on the blade, sometimes you need to come back a little bit further, otherwise your honing stone will start to hit. As you can see, maybe there's a little bit of a wear on the front of that guide, So yeah, you need to some blades you will need to sit back a little bit further than others, but we'll just set this up and we'll show you how it all works. So you'll screw that front screw down, and the actual screw that does the tensioning and keeping the blade in the system is the rear one. So that'll just allow you to bring that bring that into length, and the thing that does the clamping pressure is the rear screw. As you screw that rear screw in under mechanical force, it acts like a vise, and it locks that blade in place. Now, you can buy a base for this system, and there's a screw that comes in the kit that screws this system via that hole down onto a base, so that you can. But you can use this system by just holding onto the blade itself. That's quite sufficient. So what we'll do is we'll show you now how this works. You just back off the little butterfly clip. And I don't know how well you can see this or notice it, but on the inside edge of that guide rod there's a little flat section in which that screw will screw into to stop the guide rod from spinning. So you'll come up through the bottom, and you'll lock that into place. Just give that a bit of a nip up. Okay, and it's as simple as on the system itself. I don't know how well you may see this here, but it's got the 17% gradient, the 20%, the 25% and the 30% gradient. And as I said, with my hunting knives, just through experience using this, I like to use the 20%. So now that we've got that, we'll just put a little bit of honing oil, and you don't need much. You only need a few drops of this honing oil. It goes a long way. So we'll just put a couple of drops on this system. Rub that in, and as you can see, just those couple of drops alone is more than enough. And the idea is, so you'll put it through the guide hole, which is at the 20%, and then just in going in one direction only, you go. I usually do about 10 passes, so that's 3. Okay, so that's 10 passes. Now it recommends to only go one direction, so don't go one direction then come back, lift off, come back to the base of the blade and go forward again. So what we'll do is we'll switch it over now to the opposite side, again holding the blade and the system there, and as you can see, by going further back, the stone is not touching that that guide, but if you go a little bit too close, it'll tend to touch it and it won't allow you to get a full pass. So again, we'll do that. So there you go, guys. That's 10 passes either side, and that now is that blade, is razor sharp. It's super sharp, and that's all it takes. If you only need to do a little bit of finishing, if you find you've already got a blade that's just getting a little bit dull and just needs a touch up, 10 passes just like that with that super fine stone will bring that blade back to super sharp again, and in no time. And if you've got a knife that's very, very dull and that seriously needs some work, about 20 passes with the coarse stone either side, then work your way down to the medium and then down to the fine. So 20, 20, 20 with each system. By the time you've done your 20 with your fine stone at the very end, you'll be back to super sharp again in no time. So yeah. It's a really great system, and they only retail from between $80 and $90. So they're not super expensive where they're going to break the budget, and they'll last you years and years and years of hunting and sharpening your knives. I used to use a double-sided honing stone, a water stone, but I found that a bit of a burr that you always get with those stones, just not being fine enough to do that little bit of finishing work. I found that I'd have to continue to keep sharpening my my knives all the time, quite often. But Now with using this system and then and doing some skinning after using this system, the last one I sharpened these knives, it you know, they held their edge really well. You know, I only needed to turn in and go one pass down the blade on this knife on a recent hunt that I did, just to bring the edge back to continue finish doing a beast I was doing. But you know, normally in the past, after using the other honing stone, I'd have to do one or two passes down the blade with the field sharpening stone that I've got to keep it nice and sharp. But this definitely definitely keeps the knife sharper and for a hell of a lot longer. So really good system. Very impressed with it. It you know, has done more than what I expected from it. So thought I'd do a bit of an unboxing and give you guys a bit of a look at it and let you know my thoughts on it. So there we have it. Like I say, the instructions go in there. The one bonus with this too, guys, is it comes its own carry case, so you just lock it in like that. Another great thing that I noticed when I first pulled this out, and I'm going to fill it out and send away, is you get a special when you buy this. You can, instead of paying what is it, $31.68 for the superfine stone, they're doing the super sapphire polishing hone for $19.99 as part of the special coupon for this kit. So I'm going to fill that out, and I will get that super fine stone. The super coarse stone is not really needed. As I said, the coarse stone that's in there will get the job done, even on the dullest and the you know, most dented blades. About 20 to 30 passes with that coarse stone really rips the any dents or any imperfections out of the blade really quickly. It's a really good system. So there you have it, guys. The Lansky controlled angled sharpening system. And there we go. That's it. There, a bit of information. So for you guys that are you know, you're big on your skinning and your tanning and all the rest of it. You know, you like to keep your knives super sharp. You may want to grab one for yourself. If you do, leave in the comments and tell me what you think of it. But I'm quite impressed. So anyway, guys, just a new product I thought I'd give you a bit of a look at and see what you think. As always, safe and happy hunting, and take care.